Welcome back to the Rise with Anita podcast, or welcome if you're new here. So, today we're talking about something I think many women become incredibly at without even realizing it, which is performing our lives. We learn how to be the good daughter, the good mom, the dependable employee, the leader that has it all together, the woman everyone can count on. And sometimes we become so good at fulfilling these roles that we don't even realize we've stopped asking ourselves whether the life we're performing actually feels like ours. My guest today is Melissa Tassie, leadership architect, coach, speaker, founder of Paths to Lead, and host of the Stop Performing Life podcast, just to name a few. For more than 3 decades, Melissa has helped people understand themselves, connect more meaningfully, and lead with what she calls a human first approach. And may I add, she's also a wife and a mama. So today, I want to take that conversation beyond how we lead others into how we actually lead ourselves. What happens when we stop becoming who everyone expects us to be and start asking, who am I really? And how do I actually want to experience my life? So, Melissa, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to do this with you. It's going to be such a fun little jam session.
Let's do it. I'm glad.
So, before we begin,
Mhm,
if you're able to do so,
mhm.
and you're not driving for the listeners or operating heavy machinery, that's my little teaser. Please feel your feet on the floor. Allow yourself to anchor your body in, soften your shoulders, unclench that jaw. And we're going to take a slow inhale through the nose for 4 together. So, breathing in for 4, hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and gently release through the mouth for 6. One more time, we're going to take another breath in together. While we do this, I want you to sit with this question. Where in my life am I being who I am expected to be instead of who I actually am? And we're going to take that breath together for 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and release for 6. And from that place, we begin. So I always start my podcast off a little differently than the typical show, which is before we get into your architect and your work and how incredible you are, and we all know you're incredible,
Oh, thank you.
but I want to know, what is bringing you joy in the season of life? I think I've asked you this question before.
Gosh, what's bringing me joy in this season of life is one, watching my daughter thrive after beating a life-threatening illness. Um, my ragdoll cat, Phoebe, who I'm obsessed with. I
You
have
may
my
see an appearance from her.
Yeah. And I have my Maine Coon literally sitting right underneath my computer, almost on my keyboard. Uh, of course, my husband and, our journey together as empty nesters and, in this crazy thing called life and marriage, it's awesome. And yeah, and you know what else brings me joy that just speaks to the soul is as I look out this window here, I have this big meadow. I'm in an apartment while I'm building a home, and, I have this meadow, and I have bunnies, I have deer, um, I saw a minx one time, but I have
Very cool.
yeah, but I have birds, and today I had a blue jay come to these feeders for the first time since I've been here, and I'm like, "Super cool," and there was a female cardinal with him, and I saw a male bluebird, an eastern bluebird. So birds bring me so much joy, just watching them, mesmerizing, just so there you go. Thank you for asking.
Well, I feel like a lot of nature brings you joy.
As you can see my artwork in the back. Those
Yeah.
those are authentic paintings from a gentleman named Alex, and he lives in North Carolina, and he paints these absolutely gorgeous trees and paths in a wood, and oh my god, yeah. There you go.
Well, I'm so excited to do this. And before we dive in, you actually kind of hinted at like the premise of your story. So I want to start right there, which was
Yeah.
you mentioned your daughter is now thriving after being sick for some time. And
Yeah,
that's kind of like the prefaces of what really got you to start slowing down and assess what was it to stop performing life for you. So
right.
let's like just
Let's
dive
get
into your
into it.
story if you don't
Yeah.
mind sharing.
No, no, not at all. So take us back to 2022, May of 2022. I'm at a private aviation company I loved. I still love and admire. I had the best performing team ever, that I had the honor and privilege to lead. And we were doing great work in leadership team and talent development. And um, my daughter graduated from high school in May of 2022. Shortly after she graduated, probably within 2 weeks, she came to me, and this is probably the end of me at this point, and said, "Mom, what are these red dots on my body?" And I'm like, "Baby, I have no idea. I'm going to send you to a doctor, not a real doctor, but you're grown. Let's move you from your pediatrician to our doctor." And his name's Dr. Joel Wood with the Ohio State University Wexner Center. And she went to Dr. Wood, and she went by herself because she's going off to college in a couple months. She has to start adulting somewhat, right? Like you remember that when we were in high school and had to come out of high school and had to start adulting and how scary it was. But so anyhow, I sent her on her way, and he didn't really have any answers. He just took some blood. Well, she gets home, and 3 hours later, from the time that she was with him to, the time that, she got home and she was with me, he called. And he called her, and he's like, "Hey, is your mom with you?" And she's like, "Yeah, you're on speaker." He goes, "Well, I need you both to sit down."
That's never a fun sentence.
He goes, "I'm gonna have to refer you to the James." So if you're familiar with the Ohio State University Wexner Center, they have the cancer center called the James. And, I even just to this day, like, there's a moment of I'm speechless just hearing that. Um, he proceeded to say that there was something wrong with her blood, that her platelet count was off, and that if, she were to cut herself based on the level of platelets she had right now, at that time, she would have to immediately go to the emergency room because she would not stop bleeding. Whether it was a paper cut, whatever, she would have to go to the emergency room. So we're like, "Okay." Well, that was end of May. June goes by, hundreds of tests. At this point, she is getting blood transfusions, i.e., platelets, to be able to sustain the life, and not. It's just weird. Like when you get so low on platelets, you can start bleeding from your mouth, your eyes. Like it's just weird. Anyhow, scary. Um, but anyhow, so she's going through testing, and we're taking her in. She's like a human pincushion at times, um, a couple times a week to get checked. And this was June, July, August, September, and September's coming around. Now, mind you, hundreds of tests. And we are on our second doctor. The first doctor, she was from Italy, amazing woman, old school. I loved her. She nailed it within the second or third visit. She's like, I believe you have severe aplastic anemia, but your body is not presenting it 100% yet. So I can't make that diagnosis in like stone. Um, and we went through, and it was all about how much her bone marrow was or was not producing. So fast forward to September, Dr. Um, Babahani, he's like, we're going to have to do another bone marrow biopsy in October. This is her second one. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is serious. This is no longer switching out medications as we originally thought that it could be. Um, this is like, as a mom, you just know. You just know this is not good. So at the time, I'm still doing my job. I'm doing the work I love. I'm with the team I love. I'm with colleagues that I love working with a company I loved working with, and I was not there. I wasn't serving anyone well. And October came, and I'm standing in our cafe, which is enormous, looking out at these beautiful private aviation, these jets, and we're putting on a cybersecurity event for our employees. And I'm just standing back watching this amazing stuff completely detached. And I decided then that I could no longer serve my organization well, my team well, my employees well. And I decided that I was going to have to tap myself out. And I call it tap myself out because I did. I chose to stop playing those roles to focus on the role that I needed, or the roles that I needed to focus on, which was a mom, a wife, and a human that might lose one of the most important dear things known to her on this earth. Um, it was a instant decision once I got there. There was no hesitation. It was just like, yep, this is what has to happen. And so she shortly after that, I went on leave because I needed to go on leave. Um and I put those roles on a shelf and focused on being a mom, focused on all my time and effort and energy and love and sole purpose on my daughter kicking this thing in the ass. And she did. She did, with so much grace, poise, humor, love. Like, she handled it better than most adults. I swear she did. And she's doing great. So that is I often say the universe kicked me in the ass, kicked me out of what I was doing to do what I'm doing now. Um, and that's a whole nother story some other time, but yeah, there you go.
We can just end the interview right here. No, so much is coming through for me. And I just want to say, firstly, it's incredible that you put your daughter first in that
Fuck
moment
yeah.
because that's what that season required of you.
Fuck yeah.
And, you know, I want to acknowledge how once you got to the decision, it was like no turning back, no regrets. I want to be present for my kid and my family and everything that in between. But I'm curious for you, while you were still prior to that decision point, was there a part of you that was like, I'm here, I'm in this moment, I'm trying to focus on my team and leading you guys, but there's a big fraction of me that's going, what the hell is wrong with my kid? How can
Oh,
I be present with her? Like
every,
almost like you're
yeah.
living like a dual sensation because you can't be present in that moment.
Right.
Was that really the breaking point of like, I'm not serving and doing justice for anyone here?
It was kind of almost a bill, to be honest with you. my team, of course, I'm transparent to a default. My team knew exactly what was going on, when it was going on, like the appointments we had to go to, all that. And everybody, the entire organization was supportive, 180%. And I would say that their support, their love, and their ability to be the high performers that they are
Mhm.
allowed me to stay in the role as long as I did. I wasn't realizing how I wasn't serving them because they were so damn good,
Okay.
right? Um, and it got to the point where I'm a compartmentalizer. I can
Do you
compartmentalize
wanna teach me these
stuff.
skills?
Oh my god, and it's so funny because my sister's the complete freaking opposite. Oh my god. I'm just like, "Just shove that shit in a folder somewhere, will ya? Because it's not serving you right now." So I can compartmentalize like nobody's business, but what I can share with you is I had a speaker who from Canada. His name's Dr. Vince Molinaro. He's amazing. And anyhow, he spoke to our organization at one of our conferences, and then he came back in June. This is probably mid-June after we got the hey, something's going on. And he took one look at me. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I looked at him. I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There's something different about you."
Mm.
Now, his intuition kicked in, right? So I shared with him. He's like, That that is hard. That's hard." And I'm like, "Yeah, and we're gonna figure it out." I say all that with there was all this support along the way, and it got to the point where that support was not enough because the journey of, okay, we're researching, we're doing all the tests, getting to the point where we're running out of tests to run, it got to the oh shit moment of this is real. This is actually freaking happening. And that's when I could no longer rely on the support that I could no longer compartmentalize. I could no longer um spend the effort doing that. So the anxiety, the stress, the depression was weighing on me. And that's when I was like, okay, I know what I need to do. Yeah,
Okay, so there's so much to unpack there, but I wanna just start off with, I'm curious because you mentioned you were compartmentalizing until you
totally.
couldn't anymore.
Mhm.
And so would you consider that compartmentalization as a way that you were also performing life at that point? Because you didn't know how
Without a
to.
doubt. That's what it's all about. You
Yep.
push the shit down, you assume the role and you move forward.
Mhm.
That's what I've always been conditioned to do and always have been uh doing and still do today, to be quite honest with you, because hashtag we're human. We all do some sort of performing, right? It's just what roles are you choosing to perform? And are you choosing to perform them at your own expectations, not that of others?
Mic drop. But, okay, so I'm just curious because you mentioned the I need to be, like, on, right?
Mhm.
So, as you are having all this background, which is not really background because if we're being honest, your heart is probably going, "I may be present in this moment, but all I'm thinking about is my fucking kid."
Yeah, totally.
And so, what did that look like for you on, like, a day-to-day. I guess the question is, like, when you were in that moment, right, how are you actually internally feeling while you were attempting to be this put together, I'm present, I'm with my team, I'm here.
Internally, so much, angst, worry, agita, um, at points, devastation. Like, I don't li I it's hard to see your child go through what she was going through, and this was even
Mhm.
before chemo and her transplant. Um, and just seeing her go from this vivacious, thriving, young, like, I'm gonna kick the world in the ass to a shell of herself because of how exhausted she was. She didn't have the blood to carry oxygen and the right things to her body. Um, that was hard to watch. So being present in the moment, I was half there. I mean, as a human, we would anybody would only be half there.
Mhm.
But again, knowing I had the support of my team and the people around me, and also I've earned that right as a leader, as a mom, a daughter. Like, I see everybody on my team as a whole person. You can't separate being a mom, being a daughter, being a sister, being, a wife, be whatever it is, you cannot separate that. You cannot leave it at the door. Okay, that's the old school thinking. The
Mhm.
reality is you can't. We can try, but we can't. But I see everybody as a whole person. That goes back to the human connection, the human first piece. And once you see them as a human first and as a whole person first, and you treat them that way and you develop them that way, you lead them that way, well, they see you back that way.
What a
So,
beautiful mirror.
yeah, they did not see me as anything less than, other than you're being the mom that you're supposed to be right now. We got you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, we could literally stay on just this part of the topic for like the entire episode, but
Summer.
because you are just fully badass, let me just say that.
Thanks.
But I want to literally kind of like take you back to this like performance mechanism. And we've already
Yeah.
lightly touched on it,
Yeah.
but it's like the through line of your work really
Mhm.
comes down to basically getting rid of the mask.
Yep.
Fair to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, being authentic and transparent and being you on your own fucking terms.
Mic drop. But so I'm curious in your perspective,
Mhm.
what did it really feel like? Keyword is feel
Mhm.
to stop performing your life and to be present in the life that you're co-creating.
Relief. And it's so interesting because as a a leader of 35 plus years, you go through a leadership journey. Your leadership journey is your life story. Your life story is your leadership journey. And when you're going through the peaks and the valleys of a leadership journey, you learn along the way the things that who you truly are and who you're not, and more importantly, who you choose not to be, right? Um, Along the way. So when I stepped away from that role, I stepped away fully into the mom and the wife. And like I said, I had no hesitation leaving the leader, the employee behind, the colleague behind, the partner behind, the thought leader behind, because I know I did those roles as fully as I could up until probably midsummer of that year. Cause I was like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And I still truly believe that. And we're figuring out. Let's not worry until there's something to worry about.
Mm.
So that's yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm curious though, prior
Mhm.
to that, who did you believe you had to be in like who you needed to be to show up in those roles?
So there's always a story behind it.
Mhm.
In those roles, I have a leadership model. Okay. That leadership model is of my choice that I created and how I am choosing to navigate this world as a leader. And I know the three things that I stand for as a leader. I'm an ally. Can I be an adversary? Absolutely. Just don't, let's not test that. Nobody, okay. Nobody has the energy for that. Nor does good work get done. Okay. Second is talent. I truly believe that if we empower our talent, teach and coach our talent, that's like our number one job. We need to develop the future leaders. And then lastly is results. Because if you nail one and two, three just happens, you don't even need to try hard. I
Mm.
knew that. Gosh, I've known that for so many years. That's my compass on how I choose to show up. That is my compass that when my leadership is questioned, I can say, no, sorry. Mm-mm. These are the three things that I stand for, and I'm calling your bullshit. So let's talk about you.
Oof.
Okay. Like, and I can only say that I choose to show up that way. And when I have 360s, when I had 360s done on me, guess what? How I chose to show up was exactly what was showing up in the 360. Okay, great. Do I have thorns? Do I have blind spots? Do I have a little bit of things that we all have to bubble wrap? Hashtag we're human. But if 80% of the way I show up is how I define the way I want to show up, how I'm choosing, I'm good. I'm good.
Mm.
We can't say that there are many leaders in the world that I have worked with that have that same level of awareness and self connection. So going back to everything I do has the human connection throughout it, leading human first, the whole person, everything starts and ends with that.
You're
Okay.
phenomenal, I just have to say.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Like,
you.
can we just imagine a world where bosses, and we can imagine it actually, literally led with that? What a freaking shift there would be, because how many of us have actually had that experience where it's like the counter of that, where you're going through a tough time and they're looking at you like just a little number
Uh-huh.
versus,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, what can we do to support you?" Totally different mentality. So I wanna commend you for being that type of leader and for showing people how to be that leader as well.
Oh, thank you. And the one thing I want to offer and say right there is that I don't enable bad behavior.
Right.
So the human connection is yes, I'm going to be human. I'm going to be empathetic with you, but I'm still going to call you up for greatness. I'm still going to challenge and provoke you. I'm still going to push you to be the best you can be. I still want you to strain your potential till it cries for mercy. That's my that is my
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, but there's a difference between calling someone forward and belittling them, and there's a little bit of that
Without a doubt.
mentality. And so I just wanna say, like, the fact that you've been in this type of leadership position for years, going on decades, and I'm
Mhm.
not even going into that, but it's not polite to call a woman by her age. But to be that type of leader, to have that choice where it's like, yes, I'm going to call you forward, but guess what? We're going to call you forward with some freaking empathy and like, how do I pour into you first to get the best out of you?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Well, and I again, I we can't expect others to rise up if we don't teach them. Okay, we're not mind readers. So let's teach the
Valid,
younger generation, the people around us, what it looks like and
valid.
demonstrate, of course, right? and then coach them along the way because hashtag we're human. We
I'm
need the
curious,
help.
so have you because you are coaching now, so
Mhm.
have you always had that coaching mindset as you've been in leadership, or is it
Always.
something that you brought in?
Um, I wanna say it's one of the zone of geniuses that I have,
Mhm.
able to see what other people cannot see, pattern recognition. I also do the risk assessment behind it too, like the alligator under the pond. Like,
Mm.
what when is that gonna come out? And I need to help that person understand that that is there, and how do you bubble wrap that, right? And
Mhm.
then ultimately the signs, right? So what signs are coming up for not only me, but the individual that I'm coaching? Are you seeing the sign, reading the sign, and then taking action on it? Because again, there are no coincidences. Nothing is by accident. Um, but I've always had that ability. I don't know. It's just, it's,
Innate?
yeah, it's just one of the secret sauces of me.
You.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because obviously part of when we stop performing, and again, sorry guys, we are bouncing around in this interview, but Melissa's just a full blown, like fun. It's going to be fun. But I'm curious because, God, I really need to start doing a count of how many times I say I'm curious. If anyone ever wants to listen to this and give me that, maybe there will be a bonus like uh some
How
type
many
of
times?
reward. Yeah. Some type of reward. You tell me, maybe I send you some copy or something. But for you,
Mhm,
in your perspective, because once we stop performing life,
mhm.
there especially because we are performing for others, there's an element of disappointment that goes along with that. Usually,
For
because
me or
you
for
might
others?
not for the other people, not for
Mhm,
you, but like as you stop, because when we think about it, there's that element of if you stop showing up a certain way for a certain relationship, whether that's in
mhm,
business, finance,
mhm,
finance,
mhm,
business or personal, excuse me. I guess it
mhm,
could be your financial relationships too.
mhm,
Once you stop showing up a certain way, there might be expectations not met or a shift in like boundaries. So there is that disappointing element. So how did you work through that aspect of becoming okay with dropping the performance in order to have the I'm owning who I am now or what I want and how I want to show up?
unapologetic. I slammed that fucking door shut. I didn't care,
Did
to
you
be
get
quite honest.
pushback?
Oh, God, do you get pushback? But at the end of the day, when you stand into your power and you clearly know who you are and who you are not, guess what? That's on you if you cannot accept. I am not everybody's flavor of ice cream, nor are you, right?
No, absolutely
We
not.
are hashtag human. So it's okay. You do you, me do me. I have it right here behind me. You do you. You do you. You. So that is my that it's the Heisman, it's the I hear you and I'm showing up to who I am choosing to be. And how I'm choosing to be is I'm an ally. I believe in talent and I'm going to drive the hell out of results. Through all of that, I expect loyalty. I'm loyal to you until you give me a reason not to be. And I'm also truly authentic. If I am not giving you my authentic self, then I'm playing. I'm performing.
Can you tell us about a time where you actually felt like you were performing?
Oh, absolutely. So, my Lord in heaven. So
And were
I
you aware that you were actually performing a mask during?
no, I wasn't until I had a defining aha moment. and
Mm.
then I made the choice. So the story quickly was I was with a banking industry. I was doing a leadership conference. Imagine that. I was in charge of logistics as well as the messaging. And I watched the president and the COO behind a curtain, basically rip apart another leader without that leader being present. Now, these were women, powerful, beautiful, polished, on point women that, my God, half of the company aspired to be. I was including one of them. So their approval, the desire to be in that inner circle prior to that moment was high because I appreciated how they showed up. They were powerful women. Then I watched them behind another, like this curtain on the side of the stage, basically eat their own. Have you ever heard of that? Women eat their own? Women will whoo, they were nasty, nasty. And then
So are
that,
we talking gossip or are we talking
no,
shame?
it was,
Kind of like the derogatory, who does she think she is type thing.
it was more around that individual's performance
Mm.
and what they were not doing and what they should be doing, and basically picking and ripping this person apart. Now, mind you, the person was in the building, came up, and there was no conversation. I mean, literally, of course, the conversation stopped. And they were absolutely polished, fake. It was like literally the mask changed to where you had like the Wicked Witch of the West to Glenda, literally like that. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Now, mind you, this is the Wicked Witch that I grew up with, not the whole Wicked thing, but the like just really nasty piece to the okay, I'm fake and I'm gonna like be smiley to your face. That then was like, oh my God, I don't want to be like that.
Mm.
I am choosing right now not to do that. That was a pivotal part of my career. Why? Because I was not being authentic. I was performing to try and be in that inner circle. I was performing for their approval. I was performing to be at the table, to
Well, you can
drive
make your own
change.
table.
I
That's a whole
decided
different conversation,
it was
but
like, time out. Nope. Sorry. Peace out. So that was
so
one of the times
that
that
lack of respect almost was what caused you to shift.
lack of respect, lack of humanity, lack of leadership. It was
Yeah.
like I was in high school on in a recess or something. Literally, two teenagers in like 50-year-old bodies.
Yeah. You were like, "Are we back in high school now?"
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Oh, man. Okay,
Okay.
well, I'm loving this, obviously. My next thing that's been really, like, potent when I think about you, and no, it's not crystals, though you have a love of those as well. See, I knew you had a crystal on hand.
Oh yeah, got them.
Always. My thing that really when I think Melissa Tassie, I'm like, besides really freaking awesome hair, side note,
Oh, thank you. Thank
you're
you.
welcome, is coming back to, like, embodiment of who you are, which we've talked about dropping the mask and not performing anymore.
Uh-huh.
But what we haven't talked about is this, and we kind of touched on it, was authenticity. So what is authenticity to you? And do you find that this is like a point, and I'm so sorry that I'm like stacking questions on you right now. But do you find that authenticity, when you are your authentic self, you show up as the same in every single situation? Well, that's not situation, but like same, for example, you're going to show up the same on this podcast as you would with a friend or with a leader or a client or whatever,
Yes.
as you might with your family members. Now, the family members is a little caveat because there's a deeper personal relationship there, but
Yeah.
you get my point.
Yeah. So I think the level of authenticity is also directly linked to the level of connection that you have with the individual. So authentically, who are the two people on this earth, maybe three, that know me authentically as myself? My father, my husband, and my daughter. They know me better than I know myself. Okay. Because of that deep rooted connection. Of course, it's a soul level connection. Now, do I have a soul sister? Absolutely. I have a sister. Yes. And I also have a soul sister. Now, my soul sister knows me better than I would say my sister. Why? Proximity. And then
Mm,
also just a lot of the different journeys that I've been on through my leadership that my soul sister was once my mentor. And we're really kind of cut from the same cloth. So,
mm,
to answer your question or your insight, your statement, and how I would, what I believe to be true is that it comes down to the level of connection.
mm.
If
Ew.
you truly want to get to know me and I truly want to get to know you, am I going to be authentic with you from the get-go? Absolutely. But are you going to get to know the real, true me? Well, that takes time. Hashtag human. Can't say what you see is what you get.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about this concept? Because this has been coming up very loud in my movie lately. Of even as, because we're now all building businesses on social media. And I think I've shared with you, but I had this whole thing where I slipped the fuck word in uh, Instagram story. And someone literally, who was supposed to come on the podcast, by the way, literally this week, unfollowed me. And then she decided to cancel our podcast after she was the one who requested to come on the show, by the way.
Because you said the word fuck?
Yes, because
Okay.
apparently she didn't like how I was being perceived or exactly. She was not liking me doing me. In summary, for those of you who are not watching the video version of this, as I was saying that, Melissa was pointing to her little sign that said, "You do you."
Mhm.
Um, but so my thing is, that opened up this whole can of worms of like, well, why do you think I'm not the type of girl who says an occasional fuck or bullshit or whatever the case might be? I mean,
Right.
I rarely curse at a person. I will not curse you out. I'm pretty empathetic when it comes to how I speak. But if you've ever heard Tony Robbins talk, and everyone knows I call him Uncle Tony for a freaking reason, that man will use a fuck bomb in the middle of a sentence just to prove a point because
Yeah.
it makes you pay attention. So back to the point of this whole sidetrack story is I realized in that moment, maybe I'm not fully showing up as my most authentic version of myself. Because if you have an image of me that's a little bit different,
No.
then maybe it's not. So,
Mm-mm.
what is your take on, as you are building a business now, on showing up with your podcast or showing up even on Reels or Instagram or whatever it is, fully using that authentic expression?
So here's my 2 cents.
Go for it.
Again, I keep going back to we are not everybody's flavor of ice cream. You do
We are
you. Yeah. And Mel Robbins would be like, let them.
not.
Let them. I mean, we're not here to be everybody's people pleaser. I
No.
also truly believe, and I learned this from one of my mentors who when I had to make the hard decision to leave that job, and when I went back to that job that I loved, I no longer fit that role. I had to make the choice of I had outgrown that role. And I knew I was being called for something bigger. I had a mentor who helped me build and start my business. She said, "Your vibe will attract your tribe."
Mhm.
That individual, I mean, there's nothing bad to say about that individual. It's just you're not vibing. They're not on your wavelength. They're not your flavor of ice cream. Okay, move on.
Very
Literally,
true.
move on.
Very
Thank
true.
you. You do you.
Actually, coming back, because you just said something very interesting, and I
Mm,
wanna take a moment for this because you literally said you no longer fit into that role. And
mhm.
so oftentimes, especially as women, we tend to stay in roles a little bit longer
Yes.
than
That's good.
we're meant to because
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you know that you had already outgrown it?
Yeah, the second I walked through the door.
Were
How
you
did I
afraid to let it go?
No, I wasn't,
What was
because
the turning point for that?
Augmandino.
You were about to oh my god, we are on such a same wavelength.
Augmandino, my dear. I am here on this earth for a purpose, and that purpose is to grow into a mountain, not shrink into a grain of sand. Not that what I was walking back into wasn't amazing. It was, but I was no longer a fit for it. My soul had evolved to the next level. My leadership had evolved through the next level. I went through an experience that most people don't go through, right?
Yeah.
And it was uniquely mine. Yeah. So I didn't want to step back.
So, I was actually going to say, and it's funny because I had a whole little section of Augmandino because you cannot talk to Melissa without Augmandino.
Oh, baby, Og is right here. Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know Augmandino, he is one of the best writers I've read. And the
Mm,
books are small, which is amazing because who really has time to read a 300-page book each and every single time?
yeah. Mm-mm. Yep.
Actually, I'm going to let you pivot because he has been such an influence in your life and using his scrolls. What's your current favorite scroll at this moment? And she's holding up the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, by the way.
Yeah, I am. And it has the 10 scrolls in it. And I don't necessarily have a favorite. They all
Well,
speak
most
to me.
prevalent at this moment.
What'd you say?
Most prevalent.
Well, the most prevalent one that I'm on is I am nature's greatest miracle. And the one thing that brought me to Og when I read this chapter was through a podcast of one of my former coaches. Her name's Kishma. She had this chapter on, she featured this chapter on her podcast, and it prompted me to read the book. And
Mhm.
the one sentence that is in here that will always uh bring me back to Og. Here it is. I can accomplish far more than I have, and I will. For why should the miracle which produced me end with my birth?
Mm.
Just let that land. Why can I not extend that miracle to the deeds of today? Wow.
Incredible. So I have to ask,
Mhm.
what is one way you're living in that miracle today?
The one way I'm living into that miracle today is just being here with you, sharing my story, sharing that everything starts and ends with the human connection. We cannot have a future without the human connection. It is truly becoming a lost art, such as you think about the greats, the great masters. The great masters are Michelangelo, Raphael, Bernini, Da Vinci, right? The great masters.
Mhm.
That art's gone. Is it there? Yes. But we no longer have apprentices. We no longer have people teaching us the art of the greats. And here we have the human connection, right? As leaders, we have an obligation to lean into being and leading as a whole person. We as humans have an obligation to connect with one another because at the end of the day, we want to connect. We are more connected now as a human race. I can know what happens in Japan in a second, right? I know Dolly Parton died today. Well, gosh,
I know.
that would have taken like a couple days to know 20 years ago, 30 years
Yeah.
ago, right? But it's instantaneous
Yeah.
nowadays, right? But yet as a human race, we have never been more disconnected.
Why do you think that is?
Technology.
Which gets us into the whole thing of AI.
It
Should I
is.
open up this can of worms?
Well, you can. I don't think we have time for it today. However, maybe that's another conversation, a prequel. But AI is a tool, but it cannot replace our own thinking, number one, nor can it replace the connection to another human.
Mhm.
And I believe technology, and I can only say this from my experience in watching my daughter grow up in the cyberbully world, and
Oy,
it still
yeah,
goes on today. It went on, it was very prevalent with her. Um,
I can
and
relate.
she, not that she was necessarily bullied, but she always stepped in to help others that were. And it literally, she's an empath. It sucked her life force out of her, constantly being the protector. And the digital age that she grew up in, toxic. That toxicity hasn't stopped, hasn't gotten better in my this again, this is just my experience. And now we have AI. So we have kids and Gen Z adults that are not as close to humans because they've seen the nasty part of humanity through technology. Some, not all, right? You have the pockets of folks. And then now you have AI that kind of fills in, well, okay, do I really need to know cursive? No, because I can just type it out on a computer screen. And oh, by the way, if I need to know the history of cursive, do I need to go to the library to get a book and actually talk to a librarian? No, I could just ask ChatGPT or Manus or whatever it is that you're using nowadays. And then, oh, by the way, if I'm struggling with something on how to approach a hard conversation, well, versus going asking a mentor or my dad or my mom, or let me ask GPT to get that step A, step two, step three, step whatever the frick it is. Oh, by the way, we're losing all of the nonverbal, the communication pieces of it. The communication isn't just about writing,
Yeah.
speaking, feeling, conveying, right? That all comes through a lot of the nonverbals, which you don't get from a chat GPT. Going back to our number one role in this life is to teach people. Okay, sorry. Now I'm getting feisty.
It's okay, I like a feisty Melissa.
In a rabbit hole, total rabbit hole. And I don't even know if I answered your question. What
We're
happened?
gonna go with yes,
Okay.
because that was incredible. And I love that you bring it back to, though, the human connection and the nonverbal cues and, like, being able to actually be present with one another.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
I just wanna see
Yes.
if we actually stripped away making a little pivot point here. If we stripped away all your titles, which I know that you, in the beginning of this, said that you are all your titles and roles all at once, but if we actually strip that all away,
Uh-huh.
who are you at the soul level?
I'm a soul that is having the courage to evolve, that sees divinity in nature, and that believes that each and every human that is on this earth has a soul contract and they're on the journey to figure out what that is. I'm just lucky enough to know a little bit about mine. I can't even pretend that I know all of it because I'm learning. I'm evolving. But if I were to strip away all of it, all my titles, it's the soul.
Well, what is the role of your intuition on this journey you're on?
Everything. Everything. It's so interesting. Yesterday, I was on a call with a gentleman that I met for the first time, and I reached out to him to say, "Hey, I'm creating this networking community," and he's done it so well. And I'm like, "Well, why don't we just like combine forces, right?" And instead of getting a really thoughtful, like, conversation at the beginning it was, but then it turned into a sales pitch. And it was like immediately, like my gut just went, and I literally, it took me a couple hours to cut that energy out of my system of ew,
Ew. The
ew. Like,
distaste on your face is real.
yeah, I mean, ew. Like I'm like, here's the thing I also think about and always try to navigate is if you come to someone with an open heart,
Mhm,
9 times out of 10, that energy is met with an open heart.
mhm.
And when you come to that person with an open heart and the other reciprocates with
An open heart.
the armor, the
Yeah.
performance, literally, I mean, my husband's like, "He really upset you." I'm like, "I don't know if it was him personally, but something didn't feel right."
Right.
And that's where the gut and the intuition, and this one was visceral to the point where I was like a little nauseous afterwards. Like, so you just know.
Wow. There's so many places I could take this, but I'm just going to wrap it here with if a woman is listening right now and she's realizing, wow, I've spent years being who everyone needs me to be,
Mhm.
and I'm not even sure who I am anymore
Yeah.
because I'm so disconnected from myself.
Yeah.
What would you tell her is a way to find that roadmap home?
First and foremost, go sit by a tree.
I like that answer.
The reason why is, again, divine is in nature, but think about trees. They are so rooted. They're deep. They are the first and like the most powerful connection that we have to Mother Earth, right?
Mm, yeah.
And it's beyond surface. They go deep. So sit with a tree and get your ass grounded. Get out of the noise. And of course, like a shameless plug, I mean, I could help you, but that would be the first thing I would do if you didn't have access to me or to an Anita, to somebody else to help you, right? Everything we ever need is in nature. Everything. I truly believe that. Everything. We just need to slow our asses down, get quiet, and
Right.
truly observe it.
It's
See the
beautiful.
sign, read the signs, and make meaning of them, and then take action, whatever that may be.
Beautiful. Well, I always end this podcast off with a quick fire round. So
Okay.
think a word to a sentence max. And this is going to be a little hard, but kicking off strong
I can
with
do it. I can
a
do it.
book that changed your life cannot be Augmentino, though.
The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Ah, I love him.
Mhm.
A word for your current season.
Cautiously optimistic. That was 2.
Cautiously.
Mhm.
Cautiously, she says.
Mhm.
You and I will have to have conversations about that. Daily non negotiable that keeps you connected to yourself.
Observe nature.
A song that lifts your mood.
Ooh, there are 2. I don't chase, I attract. That is 1. No begging, only becoming is the second one. I don't ch
Hmm, I
I
need the second one sent to
attempt
me, ma'am. Okay. An expectation you're no longer carrying.
to fit the mold.
Yes, we love that. Best advice you've ever received in a single sentence.
Get clear on what you stand for as a leader.
One thing you want women to stop apologizing for.
Who they are authentically.
Beautiful. And before I let you go, what are you most excited about? This one does not have to be a single sentence. And where can everyone connect with you and just find out about the magic you're creating right now?
So what I am most excited about is getting my message out to the world, and in that journey, I'm also growing and evolving and connecting. Again, it goes back to the connection and the art of connecting. And this self discovery of I have known this my entire fucking life. And I'm just, here I am, 57 years old, pulling it together. But I had to go through all of this to get to here. And it's just that reverence, that, whoa, that really sucked at the time. But in order to do that, I get to do that. So embrace the suck. And I did. And it has made me who I am. But again, I would say that our soul is bigger than any challenge we're ever going to have. And I truly believe that based off of when I look at the peaks and valleys of my life
Beautiful.
and the way that I'm pulling it together and the understanding that I'm having and how it's just blowing my mind on a daily basis.
Well, that's beautiful. I will leave all the links to connect with Melissa down below.
Oh, there you go.
But I
Yes.
would just
Yeah.
want to tell you specifically, thank you so much for this conversation and your openness and just being you and your
Thank
authentic, expressive, bold, fun self. And to everyone listening, I want to bring us back to the question we started with. Where in my life am I being who I'm expected to be instead of
Uh-huh.
who I actually am? I would sit with that one for a couple of days, maybe go do what Melissa suggested earlier and sit by a tree and marinate on that answer. Because I think there's a difference between having a full life and actually feeling your life. We can
Uh-huh.
become incredibly good at being responsible, dependable, successful, needed, or loved, while slowly disconnecting. Talk about an accent for a moment there. Sorry. With ourselves underneath all those roles. And maybe stopping the performance doesn't require to blow up your life, but it begins with a honest moment, an honest
Uh-huh.
answer. One
Yes.
boundary, one desire you're minimizing. So if this conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs it and make sure you connect with Melissa and everything she's creating through Stop Performing Life and Paths to Lead. Thank you for your time as always and for choosing to spend your time with us. And until the next conversation, stay connected to yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anita.
Thank
Much
you.
love to you.